pass. Alright, can I go? Before imperialism, Mexico had a strict political structure and a religious ritualistic way of life. However, after imperialism, Mexico struggled with political corruption and social unrest. Under control of the Aztecs, Latin America had a strict political structure, starting at the bottom with both families and individuals, followed by the Capuli, which was a larger group of families that controlled local governments. Above the Capuli was the nobility and the councils. Each Capuli would have a leader, and that leader would form councils. The city council was one of the councils that would become a representative of the higher governments in the larger cities. Each city also had a group called an executive council with 4 members, and the leader of this council would be appointed Tlatkani, or the leader of the city. Finally, in the most powerful cities of the Aztec Empire, like Tenochtitlan, the leader of the executive council was appointed Huitlatlani, or Great Speaker. The Huitlatlani controlled the whole empire and was worshipped like a god. The empire was given a certain amount of freedom, and the only demand was attributed to the government. Right there is like the whole system of it. And the way of life in the Aztec Empire was very ritualistic and religious. The Aztecs believed in sacrificing humans and animals. The Aztecs sacrificed because deities of war sacrificed blood, and death required human blood in order to maintain the earth, the sun, and life itself. And when the high priests were questioned why they would say life is good because of the gods. With their sacrifice they gave us life. They produce our substance, which nourishes life. The god Huitzilopochtli, or hummingbird wizard, was thought to be one of the most important gods to sacrifice to. In most cases, sacrifices would take place on an altar, and the high priest would make an incision in the ribcage and remove the beating heart. Almost all of the human sacrifices were of captives that didn't pay their tribute. Sometimes there would only be one sacrifice, but other times there would be hundreds, possibly thousands of captives sacrificed at once. And this is Hummingbird Wizard right there. And when the Spanish first came, the Aztecs saw them as people who have very light skin, much lighter than ours. They all have long beards, and their hair comes only to their ears. But soon they invaded the Aztec Empire under control of Cortez and then conquered. Everything changed. The Spanish would ultimately destroy the Aztec culture and way of life. The great city of Tenochtitlan was overrun, and over 240,000 Aztecs were killed in the process. The religion would become Catholic throughout the whole empire. The new Spanish government would rule for almost 300 years until Mexicans finally gained independence in 1821 and made a new constitution in 1912. Throughout the 19th, 20th, and 21st century, Mexico has seen political corruption through bribes and elections of family members. Mexico also suffers from social unrest with drug cartels and threats of civil war. Today, Mexico has a representative Democratic and Republican government based on a congressional system from the Constitution of 1917. The way of life in Mexico before the invasion of Spanish was religious and had a political structure. However, when the Spanish invaded, all of that changed forever. And then this is the invasion of Tenochtitlan, and these are some quotes from people when the Aztecs, when the Spanish invaded. Should I read those? Alright. They ran in among the dancers, forcing their way to the place where the drums were played. They attacked the man who was drumming and cut off his arms. Then they cut off his head, and it rolled across the floor. They attacked all the celebrants, stabbing them, spearing them, striking them with their swords. They attacked some of them from behind, and these fell instantly to the ground, with their entrails hanging out. Others they beheaded. They cut off their heads or split their heads to pieces. They struck others in the shoulders, and their arms were torn from their bodies. They wounded some in the thigh and some in the calf. They slashed others in the abdomen, and their entrails all spilled to the ground. Some attempted to run away, but their intestines dragged as they ran. They seemed to tangle their feet in their own entrails, no matter how they tried to save themselves. They could find no escape. So yeah, that was pretty gruesome. I'm done.